Welcome, welcome. It is week number 2 here on the Damon Bruce Show, exclusively on Damon Bruce Plus, lovingly referred to as the Plus. Thank you very much for joining me once again. What a weekend we just had across the world of sports. We had the NBA wrapping up its final weekend of who's going to get into the 1 through 6 seeds, and the Warriors are in. My goodness, they're going to be taking on the Kings in the opening round. We're going to get to that in a second. We got an awful lot to get into from over the weekend. Giants struggle to muscle the ball out of the park. They get one off the Royals. The Oakland A's are thrilled to be leaving Tampa, and we'll get into all of that in just a second. But I have to let you know right now that we got a big announcement. We're starting week 2 with a really big announcement, and I am pleased to let you know that you've asked for it, and we are giving it to you. If I may quote Draymond Green, you're going to get this podcast. The Damon Bruce Show is now available anywhere you download your podcasts. A lot of people said it's great to come over here and watch you on the Plus. It's good to be on the channel. But what I need is that show in podcast form so I can put it in my car when I'm driving home because, Damon, I can't drive home without you. Love you. Request made, request met. You can go ahead and download this podcast. You're going to get this podcast, and you can do it right now. You can do it across pretty much all platforms, and I'll let you know that this, other than one mention quickly on a Friday, a little plugging from over the weekend, this is the first week where we're really going to start promoting this, and we already have one of the top 150 sports podcasts in America. I don't even know how that happened. It's my audience, which has been incredibly loyal and amazing to just follow me over to this space. You want more of it, you're going to get more of it. It is all there for you. Find Damon Bruce on anywhere you find your podcast, and make sure you sign up for my Damon Bruce Show, because let's just say other companies don't know how to clean up their own messes in the timeliest fashion. So follow me. Make sure you're following the Plus, boys and girls. It is really good to be with you. Thank you for joining me once again. We got an awful lot to get into today, so we're not going to waste any time at all. First of all, good morning. Ernie, good morning to you. It is really good to have you here. We got more, the podcast. There you go. Something for me to yell at while on my walks. Hey, if you can't yell at me, why even have this relationship? You know what I mean? It's good to have you here. And of course, it's good to have our founding father of all sports chatting on the YouTubes, Otis Bird III himself. He's here once again. Otis, thank you for joining us. And man, oh man, oh man, we got the NBA playoffs. And I've said this before, I want to say it again. For the Warriors, I think to do anything of circumstance in this playoff, the very first step was avoiding that play-in tournament. They avoided it. They managed to go 2-0 over the weekend. Neither Sacramento nor Portland really tried to go out and win a basketball game this past weekend. So the Warriors were able to run roughshod over both teams, get the record that they needed, and now are officially the 6th seed. And here we go with the Sacramento Kings. Light the beam to this point, to the point where they're a 3 seed. And if you could have ever sold Kings fans on this, I don't think they would have believed you. Not only will you be back in the playoffs for the first time in 16 years, but you're going to be the 3 seed, which sounds like a really good place to be operating from, doesn't it? It sounds like a really good place to start a playoff journey. Well, the defending champion Golden State Warriors will be your first round opponent. Who could have ever seen that coming? Who could have ever predicted it? It's going to be absolutely fascinating. And we know what the Warriors got going for them. We know about the history of Steph, Clay, and Draymond in the postseason, and how the 3 of them, when healthy, or able to compete in a 7-game postseason series, have never lost one. They've never lost one. They're going to be opening on the road, obviously. Games 1 and 2 at Golden One Center are going to be just a madhouse. What do we get going officially on Saturday? 5:30 local, 8:30 Eastern on ABC is where you can find Warriors and Kings. Game 1, Saturday evening, and it is going to be a hell of a show. I'm going to put the Warriors on red alert right now. I really don't care about their reputation, what they have earned, I've been watching with my own two eyes. They can get off on other teams when other teams ain't trying. I don't think they're going to run into a Sacramento team that ain't trying. And Sacramento's got a little bit of a secret weapon. Mike Brown could possibly be the deciding factor in this series only because of the familiarity that he has with the Warriors. If there was anyone who could ever deconstruct this team and put together the game plan that's going to get Sacramento at least, a 1-0 lead in this series? Do they win game one? Warriors, they better split games 1 and 2, and I know the old cliche is no playoff series starts until someone wins on someone else's floor. The Warriors better start this playoff series with a win up in Sacramento in games 1 and 2. We all know that they've got a NBA playoff record consecutive series where they've won at least one game on the road. They're going to have to keep that up because they're going to be on the road, and it's going to be an awful lot of fun. It's going to be a madhouse in Sacramento. Obviously, Chase Center is known for getting loud, but there is a level of loud that only comes from starvation. And those Kings fans have been starving for a playoff game now for 16 years. Oh, my God. That is just going to be incredible. We got an awful lot for you here, including the fact that the NBA got heated over the weekend. I mean, did you see the way that Minnesota team huddle went down during a timeout? You got Rudy Gobert shoving Kyle Anderson. The frustration boils over to the point where you got Jaden McDaniels going up the tunnel, punching a wall, fracturing his hand. And it is official. I just saw that Shams said that Rudy Gobert is suspended. A team suspension for their play-in game against the Lakers. Like, if you were ever going to need a big like Rudy Gobert to play against anybody, Anthony Davis and LeBron would be at least two of those guys, right? Rudy Gobert not playing in the play-in game that the Lakers will host tomorrow night, Tuesday night, against the Timberwolves. We got Hawks and Heat getting the Eastern Conference play-in tournament going, and then we'll see who survives. We'll see who goes to the losers bracket, who actually punches their ticket as a 7, and then we'll figure out who the 8s are in due time. It's going to be a wide open and fascinating NBA playoffs. There's just no way to look at it otherwise. One more announcement. I've already asked you to follow me to, a couple of different places. We're not going to ask you to follow too many places more, but I'm happy to announce that today I struck a little deal with AMP, which is Amazon's creator space. And I am going to be doing a nightly NBA podcast over on AMP, which will be turned around and put on my page as soon as it can be for all of you who are subscribing to the Damon Bruce podcast. But we're going to be doing stuff live nightly on AMP. It's a great chance for you to join the conversation, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. It's a brand new space. Again, hashtag new media. Draymond wins after all. I saw that Draymond was saying, you're going to get this pod. He's, I think, recording one right now. He actually records on the AMP. So, who knows? Collaboration. We won't hold our breath, but we'll hope for it indeed. We got tons for you today. We're not going to busy you, though. We're not going to take up too much of your time. And one of the things that I would love to hear from you is what you expect of this show daily at 11 o'clock. There are times when we've gone over an hour. There are times when I think we can get it in within a half an hour. I think we're going to kind of have a moving show time based on how much show we actually needed. No one's time need be wasted by a mandatory 3-hour run or 4-hour run. We're not going to waste your time. We are going to streamline this bad boy and give you everything you need on the days you need it, and we're not going to be wasting your time on days when you don't. One last note, and the final last note of the Warriors regular season comes from Trevor, who said Kuminga goes full plus on the hoose. All I can tell you is that Jonathan Kuminga dunked the basketball so hard, I called everyone that I knew in Portland to make sure they were still alive. Jonathan Kuminga threw down one of the single most ferocious dunks he'll ever thrown down in his career. He did it in a game in Portland that very few people were probably even still paying attention to at that point because the lead was wide enough for you to turn that bad boy off and go join your family over the weekend. It was extraordinary. The full-on working definition of a Mama Chewbacca dunk. That thing was nasty. Absolutely, absolutely nasty. He's going to need to do a lot of that throughout this postseason. I can't wait to see Jonathan Kuminga step forward with Gary Payton II now does that he's part of the rotation. And the forgotten man himself, Andrew Wiggins, I would expect he's available for game one of the postseason. I still don't understand why he wasn't available for a little tune-up in the final two games of the regular season. But, oh well, that ship has sailed, and we're just not going to worry about it anymore. We got ourselves Giants and Dodgers tonight. The Giants have pretty much set the tone for this year, where it looks like their games are going to be feast or famine. I mean, that's the way it looks. There is very little in between. The Giants are right in a game or they are out of a game early. They managed with a Michael Conforto home run to take the final game of their series against Kansas City, and their reward for that is here come the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I don't think the Dodgers are going to be at 24 Willie Mays Plaza again anytime soon after this series. So an important series early in the year, yeah, okay, sure, as important as an early in-division series can be against a main rival, sure, yeah, we'll put some importance on it. There's no reason not to. And we've gone ahead from a graphic standpoint, letting you know where you can find us. Let's go ahead and change the subject so you can see what's going on right now. Baseball this afternoon. We got the A's in Baltimore. The A's just got stripped alive and burnt at the stake by the Tampa Bay Rays, who are deep into the year now, 9-0. Baseball's last unbeaten team stays unbeaten, and they just destroyed the Oakland A's over the weekend. It was cruel. It was unusual punishment. And all I can tell you is that there's a lot of baseball season left, and who knows what's going to happen. But the A's look every bit of a team who's going to go 62-100 again this year. I mean, it has not looked good early on at all. The Giants don't have a ton to point to and say, yeah, this looks good. We got nothing to worry about at all. This is going to be great for us. But we'll see. At least when they feast a little. Now, tonight, they got Urias, and that is always a tough nut for them to crack. Elite and unfamiliar pitching is rough on the Giants lineup, so we'll see what they end up looking like tonight. And that's really all the baseball we're going to have for you today because, again, I got NBA playoffs on my mind. I think more than anything else, it's going to be a fun run as the Warriors dynasty. Again, I don't think it's being cruel to say no matter what happens this year, this is the beginning of the end of this run for the Golden State Warriors. Can they honestly this year, after a regular season of, I don't want to say just walking through it, but after a regular season where there was no emphasis put on any one particular game, stretch of games, road trip, a homestand, for a year that felt like it was always 2 steps forward, 1 step back, wouldn't it be fascinating to see the Warriors actually turn this thing on and hit the afterburners and go burning through the NBA playoffs once again? I almost can't imagine it. But I also can imagine it because they got some house credit. It's fascinating to see what this is going to look like. The Sacramento Kings are no joke. They've got an offense that a team that has selectively played defense better be looking out for. I mean, they can bucket up their opponent. And the Warriors, who have they slowed down? Who have they really made? That's a long night of basketball playing the Warriors. We haven't seen many of them. Can they flip the switch? Now, I heard Nick Wright earlier, a couple shows ago, basically say if the Warriors were to go out and win the NBA title again this year, they will have essentially ruined the NBA's regular season. Look, the NBA's done enough to ruin its own regular season. I don't think you can pin this one on the Warriors too. They can't be the best thing for basketball and the worst thing for basketball. And from a rating standpoint, there is no team that draws more eyeballs to the television set than the Golden State Warriors. So them actually winning an NBA Finals again this year, there's no argument to be made that would be bad for the NBA. It's just impossible to make that argument, although, some people will. Some people will. One guy who we know, and we'll eventually get him on the show here, DG says it's real simple. Welcome to the Warrior Invitational. Look, don't get cocky. That's all I'm saying, because one of the teams that might get an invitation to leave is the Golden State Warriors. We've had an awful lot of success. Drew, thank you for noticing. 5K coming soon. We're over, I believe, 4,200. I kind of lost count over the weekend. I tried to put my phone down, spend some time. We had Easter egg hunts. We have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old still coming down from sugar highs from Easter Sunday. So the only thing that I really did over the weekend in terms of monitoring, a little baseball, of course, a little basketball. The Warriors sort of put opponents to bed in such a fashion there was no stress there. And I got to tell you, the Masters. Congratulations to John Rahm. By the way, I don't know why this sign just starts blinking disco style, but it does that after about 20 minutes, so we're just going to calm that bad boy down. John Rahm, congratulations. You're Masters champion in 2023. We had a low amateur really on top of the leaderboard. I guess that was interesting. Phil Mickelson playing his way to that leaderboard, and I even released a little video. Why does this thing not stop blinking? It's got a mind of its own. Look at this. Red. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. It's going again. It wants to start again. Oh, that sign's pissing me off. I don't like blinking Christmas lights. I don't like blinking Plus lights, but I don't know if there's anything I can do about it right now other than shutting it off. We'll find out how long that holds. Anyway, really doesn't matter, especially if you're listening on the podcast, which is now available everywhere, as I've been saying. It wasn't a memorable Masters. It just was not a memorable Masters at all. At least there was no specific moment that I'm going to log down. Remember, this is driving me nuts. I just got to turn that bad boy off. There is nothing that I'm going to walk away with saying that goes into the master memory bank to be remembered forever. And, this moment, this shot, this hole in one, this putt, this drive, this bunker shot, nothing. There's nothing that really will stand out to me in my memory other than the video that I put up over the weekend saying nobody likes Phil. I think this Masters run proved that. Some people wanted to say, Damon, you talk shit about Phil and look at him. Look at where he is. Did you feel the United States of America not rooting for Phil Mickelson anymore? I sure did. Did you feel that? It was like an earthquake. No one was pulling for Phil. No one. Like Lefty, #Lefty did not trend on Twitter, I believe, over the weekend. No one was, like when Phil was at, Kiawah, where he won, what was that, the PGA, the US? I can't even remember. The major that he won, the oldest to win a major, I think it was the PGA championship. But he does it at Kiawah, and you have, galleries going nuts around him. You had Phil, just, Phil, we love you, Phil. I didn't feel any love for Phil. Sure, he appeared on the leaderboard. It might have been a curiosity, but it didn't feel like the whole other world of sports who understands, Phil Mickelson is a household name. It didn't feel like there were people running to the television set to pull for or root for Phil. So I just couldn't help but notice that. One of the bigger surprises in terms of just me pumping stuff out here in this new space was how well a video about the Pac-12 did. And I'm glad, because now that I'm over here, able to do whatever I want, incorporating more college into the mix, which always on radio was declared, you're dead on arrival. You do a segment about the Pac-12, you do a segment about college, anything in the Bay Area, it's going to be turned off. Well, guess what? We're not just serving the Bay Area anymore, are we? We're not just serving the Bay Area any longer. So there is a rampant appetite for college that we will be serving here. Somebody is, thank you, Ricardo, for noticing, it is the wine mixer. Prestige Worldwide. Am I already pitting out? Is that, see? Man, it's happening. It's this intense lighting situation that Jillian set up. By the way, I've been told stop sticking your hand in the camera because it has a weird focus feature. Learning. Again, I never wanted to be an on-camera sexy presenter, but here I am. Sorry, everyone. I didn't want to do it. I was forced into it. Let's go ahead and say hello. Rudy Gobert suspended for their play-in game. That's insane, isn't it? Isn't that crazy that a team is so offended by what Rudy Gobert did? And I mean, was it a punch? Technically, yes, it was a punch. Could that be filed as assault if someone wanted to and get all litigious? Yes, it could. But that's also a shove that teammates do to each other. I mean, I think Minnesota is literally cutting off its nose to spite its face, and Rudy Gobert must be officially just unloved, unliked, uncared for by that team. I mean, it's amazing that the choice to suspend him was not the NBA's, but the team's itself. That is absolutely amazing. Let's see. What do we got here? This is from RIP Cougar. Is that Cougar Rebel? I got to figure out how to say that bad boy. Battle of Northern California for the first time ever. How extraordinary that the first playoff meeting for Warriors Kings ever will be the Warriors trying to hold on to a streak of excellence that is just almost unmatched in modern NBA history against a team that is finally back into the mix. So here's the deal. If you're a Kings fan, even though you're the 3rd seed, you got to feel like you're playing with a little bit of house money here. I don't think anybody's going to be picking the Kings to win this series, but they should believe in themselves. I think the Warriors, here's the thing. We'll know more by game 3, right? If the Warriors win one up in Sacramento, I think this is over in 6. If the Kings actually win the first 2 games, this becomes very scary very quickly for the Golden State Warriors, and they just haven't been in that position in such a long time. Ernesto, I wonder how Wiggins is going to look. Look, I don't want to hear about restrictions. It's the playoffs. That's it. It's the playoffs. The player plays in the playoffs. If you're load managing playoff games, I don't know what the fuck it is we're doing in professional sports anymore. So I don't even want to hear about that. Don't want to hear about that. He's got to get out there. He's got to play. He's got to be nasty. And hopefully he has just, what is evil Andrew Wiggins? What is angry Andrew Wiggins? What is Boston Celtics NBA Finals Andrew Wiggins? That's what they need. That's what they need out of that guy. So it is going to be fascinating to see what he looks like, how quickly he just gets back into riding the bike that is the Golden State Warriors, and he didn't forget how, and they didn't forget how to play with him. I don't want to hear anything about like got to ramp up or fold him back into the mix. This guy's been with the Warriors now long enough to where there shouldn't be any remedial Andrew Wiggins coming our way. Michael, thank you very much. It indeed is spreading. It's incredible. The audience reaction, my loyal listeners have shown up in droves. I can feel now an element of fans who were, or new listeners, I should say. They're not fans yet, but they're coming into the show for the first time because they weren't in Northern California. And it's pretty exciting to watch this thing growing. There is a little bit of a hockey stick level of growth that just cannot be maintained. At some point, we're going to plateau a little here as we start to get more people in line that didn't just sign up to be in line right away. And that's where, the work will come in, and we're going to have to do a little marketing. But nothing has happened yet. No marketing, no advertising of the new show has been broached at all. No gussying up or fooling around with numbers has happened. We already have over 4,100 subscribers here on YouTube and a podcast that, without promotion, has appeared in the top 150 sports podcasts. Now that and $2 and I believe 50 cents will get you on Muni. So nothing to celebrate yet. But in terms of a good start, we are off to a great start. Vince is recommending an 8-hour showtime. Vince, how about this? If we're going to do 8 hours solid, it won't be until we can open up the tip jar and have people feeding the animal as it's happening. So we're not going to do that quite yet. Again, R.I.P. Cougar. Yeah, Draymond Green, D. Bruce collaboration. It would be incredible. I mean, I'm sure he believes and he knows and he's got a level of success where he doesn't need me. He doesn't need anybody to do what he does and do it successfully well with interest in the millions. But boy, wouldn't it be something to hear, a follow-up question, a challenge on a statement, talking real basketball. I would love to do it. We'll see what actually happens. Little message from the Mrs. Mrs. Plus wants to thank all of you as well. It's meant so much to us. I believe it has inspired her to continue working on whatever the hell this is. And we really, really thank you. Yes, the Mama Chewbacca dunk absolutely happened. We all saw it. It was extraordinary. And again, I hope everyone in Portland is okay this morning. That's how violent that was. How about this? We're checking in all the way. Oh no! Wow, hockey. For with the word hockey. Yeah. Well, how about this? Here's how bad hockey is at marketing itself. I am already better at marketing myself than the NHL is at marketing itself. Did you know that the Boston Bruins set a regular season wins record in the sport? No, you didn't. They did. I mean, it's amazing how they have gone about basically rendering themselves the entire sport just is Formula One now officially more popular than hockey? It's certainly more discussed. It certainly trends more. It feels like it's got a bigger world. This is what I'm talking about in terms of reach. Thank you. T from the 203, checking in from South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. We spring breaking in Fort Lauderdale? Is that what's happening? Or no, you just live there? Hey, I got my mom, the Duchess. She lives in Sarasota. My sister is in the St. Pete's area. Look at it this way. If for some reason this doesn't work out, my wife and I might be moving to Florida because we can afford it down there, but I think we're going to be just fine. Again, thanks to you, thanks to all the interest that we've been getting here early on in the Damon Bruce Show on YouTube, and now, again, the Damon Bruce Show, Damon Bruce Plus, the Plus, is available anywhere you get your podcasts. We're on iHeart. We're on Amazon. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple iTunes. Please download that and subscribe to that today. We continue to grow. It is happening. It's happening in real time. It's been incredibly exciting. Just 5 days into live broadcasts. Look at where we are. I can't even imagine where we might be by the end of the week. But I'll tell you what we're definitely going to do at some point this week, and that's get drunk together, because look at what we got. I want to say thank you very much to Charles Richards, who works for this Metallica whiskey. This is the Rye the Lightning. And he was nice enough, after just casually mentioning Metallica's got a whiskey, that it happened in the chat. We talked about it. He sent the show a couple of bottles. As you can see, we've already tapped in just a little bit. This is outstanding. I'm a rye guy. Haven't even cracked the actual just whiskey. And remember, everyone, all rye is whiskey, but not all whiskey is rye. So this is, if you had blindfolded me and told me, Damon, where did this whiskey come from? Did it come from a heavy metal band getting into the spirits game, or did it come from one of the finest new whiskey distributors in Japan? Japan is making incredible whiskey these days. Japan is cranking out what I would call a smoother version of whiskey than a lot of whiskeys that are being produced in America. This sucker, if you had blindfolded me, I would have told you that it was this definitely top shelf, highest of high end, no price point of approachability, like Japanese whiskey. This has got a price point any fan can jump into. It's delicious. I endorse it wholeheartedly. Again, thank you, Charles, for the bottles. And who knows, maybe we can even do a little bit more business together down the road. I would love to. I am a big fan of the band, and any band that has a whiskey I'm also a big fan of too. That's a marriage made in heaven, if you don't mind me saying. Somebody said when we can go True Blue, that tip jar is going to be, let's see it actually happen, because at some point here, the wife insists we get paid in more than alcoholic beverages. We're going to have to start bringing in some cash soon, just for the wife to stay with me, just to be able to afford her actual IT capabilities. Jillian doesn't come cheap at all, so we will try to go ahead and actually live up to some breadwinning capabilities around here. QHV checking in from a foreign land of Stockton. Look at it this way. The station that I worked for, there's no way that signal reached Stockton. YouTube reaches everywhere. So it's really good to be in Stockton again. Thank you very much. What are they, the Ports? Go Ports. Go Stockton Ports. Getting shouts out. Look at this. Love for Stockton. Love for Stockton. The Shaw. You've proven it, Shaw. You have proven it. Thank you so much. We are... We got an awful lot. What do we got also? Lynn. Mr. Oh. Thank you. No product. No nothing. Just out of this. Look at that. See, I'm happy to say, I'm not happy to say that both my grandfathers are no longer with me, but both of my grandfathers were buried with full heads of hair. I haven't got any male. I got a, there's a little retreat going on up here. We're going to have a little widow's peak at some point in time. But I've got no skin yarmulke. No skin yarmulke on top. I'll show you. See? I mean, maybe thinning out a little. Maybe thinning out a little up there, but nothing really to worry about. Not yet. If we have to get that Rogaine sponsorship at some point, we'll do that. But in the meantime, I think we're okay. This is a request. Can we get Metallica to make a D. Bruce Plus show song? I'm sure it would be inexpensive to have Metallica do the intro. We're going to have a sponsorship agreement for that to happen. How about this? Yeah, 3 finger. How about, here's the thing. So what is it? It's 11:32 here in the Bay Area, which means it's definitely drinking time on the East Coast. And since we're universal, baby, let's just take a little swig, see how we do. See, is there any shiver factor? Let's find out together. No shiver factor. It's so smooth. It's so smooth. It's like I just took a sip of Velvet. Remember the old Eddie Murphy? Hi, I'm Velvet Jones. That's Velvet. That is absolutely Velvet. So, for the sake of, making this a tight broadcast, we won't take too much more of that. It is good to see you too, D'Angelo. Thank you for finally catching up with us again. An awful lot of people are just figuring out what it's amazing. A lot of people are still figuring out, Damon, what the hell happened to you? What the hell happened on terrestrial radio? People go away on vacations. They weren't there when it happened. They're out of sync in their cars still because commutes aren't returning to normalcy. And a lot of people are going, wait a minute. You're not on the radio anymore? No, we're not. We're somewhere even better. I'm definitely somewhere even better now. So welcome on in. It is good to have you here. Thank you so much for following me. And one more time. Oh, I'm sorry. Sven, I got nothing but love for the EHL's Stockton Thunder. I think we all know that. Tomorrow it might be the opening topic. They might be the opening topic. Thank you, Ernesto. Thank you very much. Again, it's been incredible. Ray, Ratto, envious of the hair. Nah. Ray doesn't even consider the concept of physical presentation. He is unbothered. Let's see. What do we got? Wouldn't that be something? It would be a business expense. You're right about that. T from the 203. I'm going to be honest, though. Do I really want an original song, or just give me the beginning of Master of Puppets or something? Just give me the Master This is a very good point. You can't drink all day if you don't start early. That should be a t-shirt. That and rehab is for quitters. There will be none of that. It is indeed happy hour somewhere else. We got Never Go Full Jeff is feeling it. Postman, thank you very much. Again, there are so many loyal, returning folks in the chat. I love you all. Thanks for making this little clubhouse your new clubhouse to hang out on every single day at 11 o'clock. We plan on being here. We're going to get you to your lunch hour. We're not going to waste any of your time. And if you miss any of this, Game Realm wants to know. Donskoy. How can we get Jonas? How can we get Jonas on the show? We deeply thank you. Follow me. Or no, was it follow? I got to get my terminology right. So subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus if you haven't already. There's new people coming in every day. We got rocket ship growth. The podcast, which I'm officially announcing is available to you now, is already in the top 150 in sports. That is ranked above Jim Rome. That is ranked above my friend Nick Wright. That is ranked above all of KNBR's podcasts. And for the record, 95.7 The Game is not ranked at all. Kind of screwed that up, if you don't mind me saying. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. This was wonderful. I feel like we've officially served our purpose. The purpose continues a little bit later tonight. Larry Krueger is going to join me here on my channel for a little show we like to call the Home and Home. I'm going to be working more nationally, I think, on this show, and then Larry and I are going to get deeper into local sports when we go ahead and we do something together, and we're going to do something together. Still haven't hammered out the exact time. I'm going to have to figure out how to do that before this show starts so I can promote it, because now we're not only our own broadcasting company, we're our own advertising agency, we're our own marketing and promotions firm, so I need to get my shit together. Again, thanks one more time to Charles Richards for the blackened rye and the bottle of whiskey that is upstairs. Thank you to everyone. I love the fact... I didn't say it, Ricardo. Ricardo said that. I think he's right. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Look at this. Love to Mrs. Plus. Thank you indeed, Jillian, for getting us up on the ord. Look at this. She's working on a soundboard. Oi, oi, oi. We might have to bring back some golden oldies, too. But the podcast is up. And I give it to you, the people. This is what we do on the Plus. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining the bane of sports talk radio today. We'll be back a little bit later on. Oh. Send it! Send it in! Do you, real quick question, Shuheel? Shuheel? I don't know how to say that name. It's a great name. I love a name I'm not familiar with. Do you prefer listening from podcast or YouTube? I don't care where you pick me up. As long as you pick me up, how about this? Subscribe to both. Subscribe to both. Use it when you need it. Some days you can join me here. Some days I'll be better on your pocket. Some day I'll be better on your walk. Some day I'll be better on your commute. And it's the same show you've always wanted, and it's now available whenever you want it. Shusheel. Shoosh for short. There it is. The Shoosh for short. Thank you very much, Shoosh. That's all the time we have. Again, we're never going to waste your time here on the Damon Bruce Show. Not anymore. Who needs 4 hours when you can literally do the best goddamn sports talk show in about 40 minutes in the United States? I'm glad you were here today. Thank you for joining us. Show number 6 officially in the books. Much more coming. It is great to have you. Thank you once again for joining little old me over here. It means an awful lot. I want to remind you that sports don't build character. They reveal it.
And like that, he's gone.